Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Lonzo Ball admits harsh truth about trade from Lakers. Anthony Davis is heading into his sixth season as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. There was a time when the Lakers were heavily pursuing Davis to pair him with LeBron James. There were mixed opinions on whether the Lakers should do that because they would have to part ways with a lot of the young talent they accumulated over the years. Obviously, Los Angeles pulled the trigger, trading Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks for the talented big man in 2019. Now 5 years later, Ball discussed the trade and gave his brutal honesty on it. On his own podcast, What an Experience, Ball was talking about the deal that sent him to New Orleans. A clip surfaced that showed the 26-year-old saying he would have traded himself for Davis. That is a tough thing to admit as a player, but that showcases Ball's maturity. He was selected as the number 2 overall pick in the 2017 NBA draft by the Lakers to help turn the organization around. In 2 seasons with the Lakers, the former UCLA product averaged 10 points, 6.2 rebounds, 6.4 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. Although he showed some promise, he wasn't that much of a game-changer compared to Davis. The move worked long-term for the Lakers as they won the championship in 2020. As for Ball, it has been a rocky road for him since headlined by knee injuries. The NBA is a business, and that is what Ball learned early on in his career. All eyes are on the Los Angeles Lakers heading into free agency as the team positions itself for some major moves. While Los Angeles is a huge threat for outside acquisitions, the front office also has some in-house players to attend to as negotiations open. Now it turns out the Lakers have gotten one big re-signing out of the way before legal tampering begins. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports LA and guard Max Christie have agreed to terms on a 4-year extension worth $32 million. Christie was set to test the open market as a restricted free agent this summer, but this now removes that possibility entirely. Los Angeles shows confidence in Christie continuing to develop after the franchise drafted him number 35 overall in the 2022 draft. The Michigan State product improved upon his rookie year numbers this past season, which notably led to an uptick in playing time, 14.1 minutes per game, as the young guard vies for a legitimate spot in the rotation. With new head coach J.J. Redick taking over, there's a chance that positively impacts Christie's growth as a shooter. He actually took a step back in both three-point and free throw percentage during the 2023-24 campaign, which will limit his NBA upside if he can't find his stroke. But with a former sharpshooter in Redick at the helm, Christie should be in great hands. The fact the Lakers were also happy to commit this money to him long-term shows no concerns about him unearthing untapped potential as a player. Klay jokes about dad's selfish Lakers preference in free agency. In his free agency decision, Klay Thompson reportedly narrowed his options down to 2 teams, the Dallas Mavericks and Los Angeles Lakers. His dad, Michael Thompson, had a pretty clear preference as a longtime Lakers player and broadcaster. So when Klay chose the Mavericks instead, his dad was understandably dissatisfied. During Klay's introductory press conference Tuesday in Dallas, he discussed his dad's reaction to his NBA free agency decision. "Yeah, my dad was disappointed. I really haven't talked to him much about it," the younger Thompson told reporters. "At the end of the day, he was happy for me." It doesn't seem like Michael was in his son's ear too much, but Klay definitely knew where his father stood on the matter. "He was a little selfish in his business interests because he wanted me to be home with the family," Klay joked. "I was like, Dad, I've been in California my whole life. I got to experience something new." Although a lighthearted anecdote, that quote gives important insight into Thompson's decision-making progress. It's clear that a change of scenery was paramount as he chose his next team. "He understood, and he's actually really excited for me," Thompson remarked more seriously about his father's reaction. "He thinks we have a great shot to do something special here, not just this year, but for many years." So, he was all on board once the dust settled, and he realized that it was really a match made in heaven. In the end, it appears Klay has convinced his dad that he made the right move. But Michael and many other Lakers fans probably can't help but wonder if Thompson had followed his dad's footsteps to Los Angeles. Lakers salary dump trade candidate issues warning on comeback. It most likely did not come as a surprise to most observers of the Lakers of recent vintage that, when discussing how the organization might approach a salary dump trade to create wiggle room around the so-called second apron of the NBA's luxury tax, big man Christian Wood was tabbed as one of the favorites to be the subject of that dump. After all, Wood came to Los Angeles in a bit of a desperate state last offseason, unable to land a major contract elsewhere and ultimately signing a 2-year minimum deal worth $5.7 million with a player option for the second year. Neither Wood nor the Lakers much expected him to pick up that year 2 option, but after an unimpressive year with LA, 6.9 points and 5.1 rebounds in 50 games, Wood risked being run out of the league if he had not exercised his option. News that the Lakers might like to jettison him was expected. But it still apparently rubbed Wood the wrong way, and he offered a bit of a warning on the 2024-25 season. "The comeback is going to be elite," he wrote on Twitter/X this week. "Maybe. But it's highly doubtful that comeback will happen with the Lakers, not after Wood's many warts were on full display with the team last season. He is an excellent scorer, no doubt, but his inability to defend his position, or to help with others' positions, rendered him a sore spot in the Lakers' rotation. That, and his lack of attention to detail on both ends of the floor, have been what has held back his career through 9 seasons. It would be great if Wood could put things together here in year 10, but observers hoping for that outcome would be wise to not get their hopes too high. The Lakers were 9-10 when Wood played 20 minutes or more, and 19-12 when he played but was limited to 19 minutes or fewer. They were 19-13 when he did not play at all. Wood missed the entire second half of the season, plus the playoffs, after having a knee surgery in February. If the Lakers need to unload a salary in order to make a bigger move, Wood would just make sense. Again, it's not a big surprise to find that the Lakers would be willing to dump Wood. But the most recent assertion of that fact comes from Jovan Buha of The Athletic, who was speaking on his podcast this week. As he said, via silverscreenandroll.com, the Lakers still like young big man Jackson Hayes more than Wood. Said Buha, "As I've also said before on here, I've heard Christian Wood and Cam Reddish would be the 2 most likely guys to be salary dumped. Now, maybe a team pushes to get Jackson Hayes, and when it comes down to it, the Lakers decided there isn't much a difference between Hayes and Wood, but my understanding, the Lakers would prioritize keeping Hayes in comparison with Hayes and Reddish. That is damning Hayes with faint praise. Of course, he played 70 games and averaged just 4.3 points in 12.5 minutes, and the fact is, the Lakers would like to scrap the entire big man crew around Anthony Davis and start over. That's a highly unlikely outcome. More likely is that Wood gets dumped. The elite comeback then could come to fruition, just not in LA. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Christian Wood? Leave your opinion in the comments.